Trump's wacky tirade on Twitter, his latest anyway, Pelosi suggested, I don't think he's healthy. I don't think he's getting enough sleep. And you guys can look up the Doctor Who reference. I'm not going to geek out and bore the hell out of you with that. But, everyone is getting excited about all these things that could potentially take the administration down. But as we've seen from before he announced his candidacy and was just some nut job rich guy screaming about a birth certificate throughout the campaign, nothing has stuck. And, thank you, John Gotti, for already taking the nickname Teflon Don, because that just sounds way too cool for this president to deserve.
It's just like it's a slow-moving, waking nightmare that just won't end. And I think we keep waiting for some magical deliverance to happen, that some investigation or some piece of information. And, and I'm guilty of this as well, of thinking this will be the thing, forgetting that we have a Republican Congress. And nothing is going to happen with these people in Congress. They're just
and that's because you get the leadership. You get Paul Ryan standing up there. Well, he just doesn't know what he's doing. You know what? Barack Obama didn't know what he was doing when he was president.
But just the naked self-interest of these people is so gobsmacking. I've never seen anything like it, where they just are so clearly in the wrong, doing illegal things, hurting the country, acting hypocritically, acting out of self-interest.
And insisting that the country give them a mulligan.
Yeah.
And actually, the fact that he insulted his FBI director the way he did, the fact he don't know his job, he's a this, he's a that. And it's like, well, wait a minute, dude, you don't know anything about being an FBI. You just walk on the scene and just insult people and say what you want. And then,
although this sort of hails back to what we were talking about before the show when you were talking about the TV show that you're working on. No, Trump knows about how to do the FBI job because he's been investigated by the FBI so many times.
He's such a fucking piece of shit.
Oh my God! Wait a minute.
Is that a Reza Aslan quote?
That's a Reza Aslan quote. Totally. You're gonna have to now leave this show.
But this show you're fine.
We're fine.
CNN though.
Yeah. So, God, he's such a piece of shit.
He's such a piece of shit.
I mean,
but it's
here's the thing. Do you want to look back and go, in 1938, the AP fired this journalist for calling Hitler a bad dude? It's like, you know what, CNN? He is a fucking piece of shit. That is accurate. That is not exaggeration. Donald Trump has no value as a human being. And
None at all.
So you weren't bothered when Kathy Griffin walked up with...
It was in poor taste. But I wouldn't. I'd still hire her tomorrow to represent my baby product.
As we said last week, Kathy, you are more than invited to join us here on the panel. Anytime
Kathy,
you want, or at least on Saturdays when we're doing the show.
The head didn't bother you. What would you feel about the head, John?
Listen, Kathy Griffin to me has always been sort of a distasteful figure. I mean, I don't think she's particularly funny, except for sometimes when she's hilariously funny. Mm-hmm. But she is just desperate to be seen and throwing shit against the wall. And but I feel like, and that Bill Maher in his defense on his show of using the N-word was saying the same thing. Hey, it's comedy. We're just trying to make people laugh, and sometimes it goes the wrong way. And for my part, Kathy Griffin isn't the president of the United States. We're not looking to her to create national policy. Mm-hmm. We're just looking to her for some cheap yucks, and those she didn't get the cheap yucks, so whatever.
I don't know if it's right to say that nobody's looking to Kathy Griffin for policy direction, at least during Pride Week. We should. She's a friend of the community.
She is.
Isn't it Pride Week this week?
Yeah.
It is. Come see me in West Hollywood.
And
no,
then someone
you can't.
Explained, oh, no, that's not that kind of pride.
It's actually Pride Month.
Yeah, it is Pride Month.
black people
Apologies.
have the short. Well, it's both.
Didn't mean it.
It's
Right.
both.
Okay.
It's both. But
it's not your
they're
month.
taking
Tymon.
over
It's
the calendar.
Pride Month.
Well, now what? Now it's for the gays. Right?
The gays are taking all the good months.
Yeah.
June is a really, really good month,
know
and
what?
I like how it's traditionally the month for straight het marriages. So I
yeah.
feel
That-
like
that are
that's
planned
really,
by gays.
That
Yeah.
are planned by gays.
Pretty soon they're going to insist on a month that has 31 days. I'm just saying.
They're not going to want
This
you.
is the LBG
TQ. Cover your eye and read the next line.
Hey, watch it. You can get in trouble for that.
I know. It's acronyms are just.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender questioning. There you go.
Is that
Wait,
what
is it questioning? I always
Yeah.
thought it was queer.
I
Well,
think it's usually
They
questioning,
changed- it's changed.
but
But
it could
wait,
be.
wait, wait.
because
Is-
some
is
people remembered that
questioning a
queer
gender?
was used as a pejorative.
What?
Because some people remembered that queer was used as a pejorative
Maybe,
in recent
but,
history.
But the questioning,
That's a big word.
I'm
is,
good like
you know,
that. We are
is people
intellectuals
that
here.
aren't sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait. So what is questioning a gender? What is questioning?
It's a part of that whole
Gender
thing, and
ambiguity,
it's- yeah.
non-binary
Yes.
identification.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a powerful month because it is also the year anniversary of that horrifying shooting in Florida.
In Orlando.
In Orlando. And I was on the corner. I live in West Hollywood, so, gay central. And I was on the corner the morning after that happened as the, people were assembling for the thing. And it was so profoundly moving. And I'm very proud to live in West Hollywood and to share my neighborhood with such a powerful group of people. And
Clean.
I celebrate it. I do. I really do.
Well, also, the kid who was killed in Wyoming.
Right, Matthew Shepard.
Yeah, that's that to me.
Is gay pride connected to that? Is the date?
When that happened,
I didn't know
that was pretty
that
out.
was a long time ago.
Yeah, but it was pretty out. No, because that's Wyoming,
Oh,
and
my
they were
God,
like,
yeah.
hey, who's this guy, and what they did to him. I was like, man, even if you're not gay, you feel for the family and all of that just because of what you.
I don't
Well,
understand.
yeah, nobody, and as even if for whatever whack-ass reason you have for thinking that, gay people are different or subordinate, there's still, no reason. We were talking, I don't remember if we were talking about this before the show or after the show a few weeks back, but we were talking about the treatment of blacks in the South and, how some guy impaled and ran a black guy through because it was rumored that he had raped a white woman.
Right.
And we were talking about how that guy, the mentality, would never have done that to a white person.
Right.
But, for an equal or more heinous crime. But because they see blacks, or in the case of Matthew Shepard, they see gays as less than human.
Yeah.
They feel that they can do that. And it's, no matter what your perspective on the issue is, you do not do that to another person.
The narrative of fear has always worked, and when you put that narrative out into our society, as it has been for so long,
alive and well.
There you go. Because you can't be born that way. Someone's got to teach you that. Someone's got to continue to pound that into your head. And once you become an adult, my dad told me, and my dad, and this dad, and and everybody starts thinking that everybody we all bleed red. I'm sorry, we do.
Yeah, I don't really understand what the end game of this, oppression really is, because we've seen it for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years, and what we've ended up is we still have diversity of all kinds. People are not going to just disappear. I mean, now that it's been suggested in Republican circles, internment camps for Muslims, of course it's coming. I was just looking at my watch, waiting for that one to be suggested, because it's just recycling this idea that we can, that people can take other people that they don't understand and isolate them and make them disappear from society. It's fundamentally wrong-headed. It's just
Reza Aslan being fired for accurately describing the moral value of the President of the United States, and is it Nigel Farage?
Nigel
Yeah.
Farage.
From UKIP.
Working for Fox, right? Or
I
hopefully
believe
not
so.
CNN.
He's being subpoenaed.
And he's the one who mentioned the internment camps recently.
Yeah.
You know,
He's-
so that's the difference. Is one's actually calling for internment camps, which never ends well for any group of people. Doesn't start off well either. You basically take their property from them. You know.
Yeah.
And that's
It's never worked out.
yeah.
It's never worked out.
Well, all right, but that's I'm sorry, I'm certainly not standing up for the conservatives and the American Nazi Party or Republicans, whatever they're calling themselves these days.
Right.
But no, I'm not going to.
Were you going to talk about Reza Aslan or something else?
Well, I was gonna say that Reza Aslan,
Yeah,
you can't say that his statement was accurate. Donald Trump is not a piece of shit.
No, I think
He
he's
is a heaping
turd.
pile of shit.
He has the moral value of a piece of shit.
He's the full log.
A pile of shit is not actively trying to destroy the world.
Yeah.
It just smells bad.
It might ruin your day.
You know what? It can grow food. Donald Trump will never grow any food, and he is worthless.
What's Nigel Farage doing monkeying around in our American business anyway? Isn't he a Brit?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but
What gives him...
Because he's not doing as well over there. So.
Yeah, exactly. He was failing in the UK. He helped get the Brexit passed, but with the snap election where UKIP lost all their seats in Parliament.
They lost all of them, and he's left. I mean, what does he stand for? What is he about? Is he not about that party? I'm sorry.
Well, he's about, I understand the international carpetbagging, that you're saying is going on. It's these people, these merchants of ignorance and hate. You do it in England, and all right, it's going well. We got the Brexit passed. Oh, people are starting to regret that. Hey, looks like the climate in America is pretty warm for the shit that I'm preaching. I'm going to go over there and help them. And I think it's interesting because UKIP lost, and that's for the uninitiated, the United Kingdom Independence Party. They're out because Theresa May didn't get a majority with the Conservatives, the Tories didn't get a majority of seats in the Parliament. She has to form a coalition government. And she is forming an alliance with the Democratic Unionist Party from Northern Ireland.
Oh, my God.
They're basically like the religious conservatives.
Yeah.
They have prominent party members who have gone out in public in this day and age and said homosexuality is an abomination. They of course want to keep abortion illegal and jail women for having abortions and jail doctors. So while the Tories took a bit of a beating in this snap election, what they're bringing in is worse. And I was talking to a friend of mine last night because we were talking about what if the Comey hearings do lead to an impeachment, and it's even if he doesn't leave office, if he's impeached, and if these hearings do turn into Kushner getting jail time, Bannon getting jail time, and basically cleaning house of all the insiders, except for Trump, because they won't be able to get him to leave office. That would, on the surface, be a good thing. But you think about it, it's like he found these horrible people for his first round. How much worse could he pick for his second round of, if these people get cleaned out? So going back to the point I was making earlier, we should all be keeping an eye on what's going on. We should all be optimistic and hopeful that this is going to work out for the best. But as we've seen,
things don't really actually tend to work out for the best, do they?
Yeah, it's and just when we think we get things locked up, it's going to happen. We lose the election we should have won.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's really terrifying is I think that the Trump administration will be its own undoing. I mean, already Trump has hired this nincompoop lawyer, the guy who threatens to sue everyone, for the last 15 years for Trump.
Yeah, in his opening remarks, misspelled the word president in the first line and had about 50 other typos.
Yeah,